front of a capacity crowd. 5 lights are on. It's lights out and away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, Ted, down to you. Yeah, well, 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out and away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
Hello all and welcome into WHF Round 4 here in Tier 1. You're joined by me, WHFO, here in Saudi Arabia, the Jeddah Corniche circuit, with 18 drivers this evening, as Top Gun, I believe, is joining now. So there should be maybe 19? Let me try and get Top Gun in if I can. I'm trying to remember Top Gun's EA. Yes, Lauren, there is space. I'll send you an invite, because I'm pretty sure we'll have a full grid after you and Top Gun join. But not actually sure what Top Gun's EA is. I don't know. Anywho, we've got Sluscorn, the Tier 2 driver, several poles this season, reserving today in the Williams up in P17. And will be the first driver to set a lap here in this session. And interested to see what the bankers will be for some of the drivers here to start this session. First run in qualifying, Sluscorn does a 28.1. We've got Cookie, current championship leader. He'll be a good driver to follow. He's early on a lap as Stephen Beecham does a 28.2. Cookie next around, as Hemi Dimes does a 27.2, almost a second clear of Sluscorn, as Ty Clear does a 28.6. Rio Harris with a 27.8. Liam with a 28.8. Cookie flying around now. And Cookie now charging to the line. Where can the championship leader set his Red Bulls? He comes up to the line. It's a 10th or like a 300th shy of Himmy Dimes. So Himmy Dimes laying the gauntlet so far. Cookie just shy of his time, as we're going to try and get Top Gun in here if we can. Just cannot seem to find him. Oh, there we are. Well, someone's invited him anyway. I couldn't find him, but here we are. Gordon up to P4. TJ up to P3. TJ, who this season I don't think has had use of his wheel thus far, and this is the first race he's got to use his wheel. Also, on this in this season, and up to P3 he goes as very interesting to see Nasev next around. Nasev won last time out in Bahrain in round 3. Here in round 4, what can the Sauber driver do for this evening, as he's actually stole Top Gun's car, but will not complain too much as he does a 26.8. Nasev laying the gauntlet there with a lovely opening lap. Does Nasev do, as Cookie might be around to start another lap. He is. We're going to stay with Cookie on this lap as we wait for Top Gun to pick a car, and Arn to join as well. As Cookie crunches the inside wall, flying around. Oh, why is the stream keep doing that? As Cookie still on a flyer here, as I'm trying to sort out Top Gun still trying to join. And Arn as well, so apologies, I'm not being too attentive, but Cookie now into the final corner. And round the final corner and exiting. Where can the Red Bull driver go? Currently with a 27.3, but crosses the line, does a 26.7. Moves a 10th ahead on a save there. As still just trying to get some drivers into the lobby, as Liam in the chat says 6-7. Yeah, of course you do. As we have KK on a flyer along with Ollie. Michael Louis on one, where is he? He's invalid, so we'll stay with KK for this one. In the Williams. Oh, as he's a big spin. Pulls a Mick Schumacher, and KK spins around. Meanwhile, we'll follow the McLaren of Ollie. Oh, he gets very unstable through the same corner and invalidates his Lapis. We're going to try and get Arn in as well, so we can hopefully get a full grid sorted. Couple of late comers. We're going to try and get sorted on time. But Sluskar now on a lap in the Williams. Attempt to the good goes the Williams driver. And being very strong in qualifying so far. But currently it looks like it's going to be a battle between Cookie and Nasev. Himi Dimes also started a lap. We'll keep an eye on his progress after Sluskarn finishes his lap. But pretty interesting to see a lot of the drivers competing. Is Sluskarn actually going to get a little bit of a tow from the Red Bull ahead of Mallard? And Sluskarn up the line goes to P6. That's a really strong lap there from the Tier 2 reserve for today, as Himi Dimes actually invalid and looked a little bit like he had damage on the front wing. I'm not quite sure. As Himi gets a good camera angle. Yeah, left M plate gone for Himi. Meanwhile, TJ, gonna be interesting to see TJ. His first race on wheel this season has been really it is not realistic performance, no. As TJ on a flyer. If this is realistic performance, then the save is on absolute steroids in a Cyber. But no, this is not realistic performance. As TJ seems to be the driver to watch today. Has not had a strong start to the season, but now that he's got his new PS5, he's back on wheel again. Could TJ find some time here as Top Gun's retired? I think in the pit lane. Happy to start from the back. As TJ now into the final corner. As maybe there's been a crash at the first sector. That's why Top Gun is apologising. As TJ now comes up to the line. Where can the Mercedes driver go? Does improve by 2/10. That is a strong lap from TJ there. As Stevens' lap may have been blocked a little bit by Top Gun there. And where can Steven go as he's coming up to the line? Still waiting for Arn to join the Steven. I think improves very slightly in his lap, but not on position. But we'll try and get Arn another invite here so he can hopefully join on time. As Ty Clear, Tier 2 champion last season, he's on a flyer now in the Aston Martin. As Liam's retired, as Ollie gets a... Where the hell's Ollie? Ollie gets a 5-place grid penalty for hitting Liam. I wonder what happened there. But Ollie, who hasn't even got a lap time on the board, has now got a grid penalty. So, really not ideal for him, as Ollie's retired in the pit lane as well. A couple of drivers not even setting laps here. As Franz Hermann leaves the track. But let's see who else is on a lap. Cookie, 2/10 the good already through Sector 1. And makes a little error mid-corner, uses too much of the curb, and that's the lap gone right there. As Arn is finally joined. So we've now got a full grid here with 5 minutes left to go in this session. This is where things will start to heat up. Oh, wrong button. But currently, Cookie has the time on the board to beat. As KK, Echo yet to set laps here. Echo his first race of the season. Returning to WHF. As KK now rounding the final corner, the Williams driver coming up to the line. His first race of this season as well. And KK goes to P13. And I must say, when it comes to KK, there's a distinct lack of the number 7 on his car. As Echo now on a flyer here. But 3 minutes left of the session. This will be interesting. I think Cookie may be finishing a lap, and the Red Bull driver now on a push to the line. Crosses the line, does a 26-1. Absolute masterful improvement as Echo up to P4 in his first lap at 27-4. Brilliant opening lap there for Echo. Needed to get that lap time on the board. And now all the way up to P4 he goes. As Arn yet to settle lap. Thori looking for improvement. Mallard exiting the box. KK invalid and will not get another lap in. As we've got loads of drivers leaving the pit lane now. Nasev got to improve by 7/10 if he wants pole ahead of Cookie. And a big improvement needed for the Cyber driver for this evening. Echo won't improve on that P4, but a very strong lap on his return to WHF. Zampa, I completely agree. Canada, Montreal is not good, not a good circuit. As Rio Harris now on a lap here in the Mercedes, although appears to have backed out of it, possibly going for another recharge lap. We've got Arn on his first run around the Alpine Tier 2 Championship leader this season, leads by around 9 points. And what can the Tier 2 Championship leader do here in this qualifying session? Yet to win a race in Tier 2, but still been the most consistent driver, and we may see that consistency here again as Cookie retires, believing he's done enough for pole. Wouldn't have had enough time to go again. Nasev about to start a lap with 30 seconds left in the session, as Arn now currently P19 as it stands. And why does it say Ollie's Franz Hermann? What? Why is Ollie Franz Hermann? As Arn moves up to P18, gets a lap to on the board, but it's 4/10 shy of Thori, who's on another lap on an improving run. But let's see who's the closest driver to finishing the lap. It might be Gordon, although he's in the middle sector, so it's going to be Ty clear as the checker flag is now fallen. Echo and KK will not be improving as Ty rounding the final corner. And up to the line will go Ty clear. And Ty to the line goes to P9 as next across the line was Thori. As we've got Stephen Beecham charging to the line next. Stephen goes to P11. As next around will be Mallard, followed, although Mallard's invalid, so be followed by one of the Mercedes of TJ. Rio Harrison, a very slight improvement as well, as TJ up to the line, and a very impressive performance from TJ as he gets up to P4. Does TJ, what an improvement there. But we're going to follow Nasev here, one of the main favourites for pole, as I don't think Gordon improves as Nasev crosses the line. 3/10 improvement, it's not enough. Hemi Downs gets into the 26s, but the gaps up at the front are massive as Womack moves up to P13. Rio Harris next across the line. Where can he go? Rio up to P4. Strong lap from the Mercedes driver, and he has his Mercedes teammate joining him just in behind. Very strong qualifying there from Cookie. Over a second ahead of P4. And Cookie with another pole this season. And that'll be your qualifying for the day. Cookie on pole with a 26.170 ahead of Nasev by 0.3, who's a further half a second ahead of Himi Dimes. Rio Harris with a 27.2, which is a very good lap. Still over a second behind Cookie. As Zampa says, Cookie needs to send him some of what he is taking to improve. As Michael Liu, very strong P6 in the McLaren. As Cookie on pole, as we'll try and get all the results in if required. A reminder, Ollie, who is starting from the back, has a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting P25 in the race. He's got an extra couple of grid slots. He has to sit behind the rest of the field, so if you're wondering why Ollie is sitting behind the medical car, that's why he has to set a couple of grid spots down. So unfortunate for Ollie. But I've just told the drivers when to ready up for, so hopefully everyone has time to pick their setups and their fuel loads, adjust their setups, and we'll see what strategies the drivers pick. Saudi is always a one-stop. I don't know if that's changed on this game, but I'm 90% sure it's still a one-stop. It's mediums to lap 10 or so, and then hards to the end. So we may see drivers in as early as lap 7 to put on the hards to the end. So we will see what the strategies the drivers go for, as I need to restart the results thing so it actually works. But get your predictions in the chat. Who you think's going to win? Scone says, think Cookie needs to be nerfed. Scone says, one safety car, Franz Herman, DNF lap 3. Well, Franz, I'm pretty sure not too happy about that prediction, but if it's true, I mean, I guess not much we can do, really. But Cookie with a very strong qualifying. As Liam says, Womack's on softs. You don't really want to touch softs on this track, but if he is committing to the 2-stop, as Nasev says, why leave to Akko? So maybe Akko... Oh, maybe he's not left. I didn't see him leave the lobby, so it's maybe just the voice channel. Yeah. But the drivers should be running up very shortly. Get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think's going to win? Cookie has, or Scones has gone for Cookie. Scones, who won the opening round in China in Tier 2. And now we wait for the 5 red lights. Drivers should have a minute left before they ready up. And we will have 25 laps around the Jeddah Corniche circuit here in Saudi Arabia. One of the trickiest tracks, the fastest speed track on the, or the fastest straight track on the calendar. But intriguing to see. As I need to double check the results thing is actually working, because it's notoriously shit. And it still doesn't look like it's working. Who knows if it's working. Scones, I'll hop on LMU whenever you would like to, if you want to just invite me whenever. Anywho, we'll talk about LMU another day as we're here for round 4 in the WHF Tier 1 calendar. And then we will have the 5 red lights on here in Saudi Arabia. And they're out as Nasev and Cookie will charge down to turn 1. Cookie's got a good start, but Nasev on the inside already. On the Red Bull drivers in the background. The V-Carb Authority around Cookie and Nasev going side by side, wheel barging as the yellow flag is out. And an already VSC is out as Mallard, Thori involved. I'm not quite sure what's happened. Thori's front wing entirely gone. He had an awful start. He was spinning off on the wall immediately as we're getting yellow flags here. 10-second penalty for Slusskarn. As illegal overtakes are happening, I believe. That's why we've got such a big parking here, but the field is already spread out here. They need to rejoin the pack. Ty Clear with damage. Anyone else here with damage? Whoa, Max with damage. Stephen Beecham with damage yet again. Stephen Beecham just can't buy an easy start to the season. Is Top Gun going to get through on Thori? Thori missing a front wing entirely. Mallard missing a large part of his front wing as well. As we restart on a green flag racing. Himmy Dime's already outside of DRS of Nasev. We're going to get the tyre graphic up as Gordon's gone for hards. Everyone else on mediums as Slusskarn gets out of Ty Clear, who's still dealing with some of that damage. And he's going to let through a couple of drivers before he comes into the pit lane. It's Cookie now on the rear. Someone crunched the wall. Not quite sure who that was, but we did hear the bang of the wall. But back on board with the leaders. Himmy Dime's trying to get back inside this gap. But such an early VSC came out there as Nasev trying to get back inside DRS range. And Cookie still unable to get ahead, but seen some swaps here. Womax battling with KK. KK now up to P12. Womax carrying some damage here on the softs early. Surprised to not see Womax into the box to fix that front wing because he's on the softs anyway. It's not really a tyre you want to be on, so it would help him if he just got off the soft tyres and fixed that front wing. Meanwhile, Franz Hermann leaves the track in behind Gordon, dealing with some dirty air as Slusskarn actually has 13 seconds of penalties already. Is on the inside goes Franz Hermann, and both Gordon and Franz are around, and Franz now resets the track again. And I think that's Franz's WHF career done and dusted with another violation. As he's going to battle Womax, and Womax trying to get through on the V-Carb. But now he is Ollie for company. Ollie on the outside of Womax as they charge now through the middle sector. Ollie going to get through on Womax. Ollie with a very strong drive today so far. And Ollie now on the rear of Franz as Gordon gets back out of Slusskarn. I forgot Gordon got clipped around there by Franz, and that's what caused as Michael Lou going to swap with Echo. Michael Lou and Echo having strong races so far. TJ having such a strong return here as Michael Lou does get through on Echo. Is Echo carrying some damage on that front right end plate? He is. Echo's front right end plate gone. That's why the Haas driver's been struggling so far. But TJ, now that he's moved back to wheel again, he was one of the drivers at the back of the field in the opening stages of the season. Now he's up in P5. DRS training with his teammate. They're having such a strong outing as Nasev and Cookie continue on. Himmy Dimes has dropped Rio Harris out of DRS, but Himmy Dimes just doesn't have the pace of the lead pair, unfortunately. as KK on the rear of Liam as Liam makes a little bit of a mistake. KK going to try and search for way through on the Haas driver. But very close we are in the midfield. Lovely to see this helicopter shot as everyone making it through. And back on the lead pair as, oh my god, the gap has gained us a second since I last looked. Cookie and Nasev just a different level to everyone else here. As Nasev going to try and defend the inside. Cookie looks around the outside. Nasev breaks later though, and Cookie, I think, didn't even really want to go for anything. They're just using his tyres a little bit as TJ swaps with Rio Harris. As TJ with the season best P4 was battling for the Tier 2 championship last season, and the improvement here in Saudi Arabia is already insanely visible. TJ's pace has improved massively. For context, his championship rivals, Stephen Beecham and Ty Clear, down in P14 and P18 from last season. So TJ finding a whole lot of pace here now that he's finally got his rig together. Meanwhile, Ollie piling the pressure on Franz Hermann, who's still dealing with that damage on the front left end plate. I'm sure the McLaren driver of Ollie can see it. Season 3 WHF champion as Ollie started at the back of the field and already up to P13 now, as he's going to search for a way through on Franz Hermann, who seems to be struggling. As Cookie battling with Nasev. Nasev round the outside again with DRS. Side by side they go into turn 1. And Cookie, oh, and Nasev still contact. And both of them wheel tapping, many wheel taps. Nasev gets through. As TJ and Rio Harris swap positions there. Not quite sure what happened. Rio Harris appeared to leave the track as Echo comes in for an early stop. Yellow flag out. TJ's out. And it's a VSC, and I was boasting about how well TJ was doing, and TJ clips the inside wall at turn 4. And the Mercedes driver out here on lap 5. Heartbreak, he was having his best race in his WHF career. And TJ out of this one, absolute heartbreak. He was having such a strong outing. And unfortunately, the Mercedes driver is going to have to go again when we return after Christmas. But TJ was having such a strong outing, he can take that confidence into the next race, but may have lost some of his confidence at turn 4 in Jeddah. As Scone says, it's always turn 4 at Jeddah, as it is. As we go green flag racing again, Liam's caught Sluskar napping, and Liam now up to P7, and he'll get DRS off Gordon as well, so Liam having a very strong outing up in P7 as well. As Cookie and Sev right on each other's tail as Top Gun gets ahead of Arn. The two Alpine reserves for today. Top Gun's actually a Cyber driver, but joined late, so lost rights to his car. As Franz Hermann in for a stop, as Arn gonna go down the inside of Top Gun, has a little look on the inside but brakes early, doesn't want to fight too hard with Top Gun, as Franz Hermann does get a new front wing on his car and an early stop, and Franz will be able to go to the end here, so possibly a smart stop to do. As KK Eaton now on the rear of Sluskard. Oh, and Sluskard's around! Oh! Absolute heartbreak. Sluskard again spins. And unfortunately, the Tier 2 driver who has been unfortunately cursed by spins in Tier 2 after having such strong pace in qualifying.
We'll get him next time.
And Sluskarn spins again and has damage now on that front wing and he'll have to box. But he can go on hard to the end because Sluskarn, he'll get rid of that 10-second penalty and hopefully fix his front wing and can do hard to the end. Meanwhile, Cookie on the inside and Nasev squeeze to the inside wall. Cookie going to try and take the lead here and he does just that here on lap 7. And Nasev down to P2 as Nasev. Big spin there. Massive spin. I have no idea how he caught that. It seemed like Nasev was almost done and dusted. And that's given Cookie an opportunity to split. Can Nasev burn the battery to stay with Cookie here? Scones does say that these front two are in a league of their own, but here's the thing though. Oh, and there's a yellow flag out. Nasev! Nasev's made another error. He's overheated those mediums and now drops down even further. He now has Hemi Dimes for company. And Scones definitely cursing Nasev here as Hemi Dimes now can look for another P2 this season. Hemi Dimes seems to be, unfortunately for him, second best this season as the yellow flag's out. And it's Echo, is it Top Gun? Maybe Top Gun. It is Top Gun. Front left end plate completely gone on the Alpine. And Top Gun, Season 6 runner-up in SSR, unfortunately, has not been able to show that pace this season. As Scones brings out the commentator's curse, even though he's not even commentating, as Hemi Dimes now round the outside of Nasev. Nasev, is he going to fight this? He is. Dives late into turn 1 and Hemi leaves him the room. As these two battle over P2. It's allowed Cookie to gain another advantage here and build a strong lead. As Sluskarn now into the box, going to serve the penalty. Hopefully going to fix his front wing as well, as Top Gun also going to do the same. Now, I'd say from lap 8 onwards, you can do hard to the end pretty comfortably. For the drivers who've already boxed, like Echo, it's going to be a bit of a stretch. Herman, got to stretch them, got to manage them a little bit. But realistically, lap 8, they're good. If you can stretch them to the mediums to lap 12, then the hards are going to be insanely quick until the end. So it really depends what you're doing. As Mallard now battling with Womax over the latter stages of the points in WHF go down to P16, so this battle matters. As Mallard now early in for hards, he had early damage in the race, but he might have to box again. I don't know if his hards will go to the end. It might be able to stretch, and Womax now no fresher mediums might be able to pull a gap to the Red Bull driver. As Michael Louis now on the rear of Rio Harris, and Michael Louis looking for a season best P4. He was a previous Tier 2 runner-up back in Season 4. Had a chance to win the championship on the last race in Brazil, but missed that opportunity. But hopefully Michael Louis now can put pressure on the rear of the Mercedes. As Hemi Dimes continues on behind Nasev. As they hop over the curbs. Top Gun now battling with Mallard. Mallard struggling with those older tyres. As Top Gun now going to try and get round the outside. Mallard on the inside of Top Gun, keeping his nose in there. Top Gun does well to leave the room. And round the outside he goes. And a lovely pass from Top Gun here. As he'll set his sights now after Womax. Meanwhile, Echo on the rear of Arn through Sector 1 here as Hemi Dimes has got ahead of Nasev. Nasev, has he spun again? Nasev spins again now and he's lost time to Womax's Arn. And Echo around and Echo in the wall. We just caught the tail end of that, but Echo in the wall as Michael Louis now back on the rear of Rio Harris. And Michael Louis now into P4. Michael now into P4. And Rio going to look to try and get back ahead of the McLaren. As you're absolutely right, Scones, we haven't seen this much chaos in a Tier 1 race in quite some time. Nasev in early, as Rio Harris now back ahead of Michael Louis down into turn 1. And Michael's not going to fight that too hard, and Rio back up in. So I would say P4, but it is P3 now with Nasev boxing under the hards. His medium tyres are clearly done. But the undercut is strong around Saudi Arabia, so we'll see how much time he can gain in this one. He'll definitely undercut Hemi Dimes despite him spinning and losing time. That's just how strong the hards will be. And he exits now ahead of Stephen Beecham, in behind Ollie and KKE, who are still out there on the mediums, yet to box in this one as Mallard and Sluskard swap positions. Now Sluskard going to try and get back ahead of the Red Bull, as Top Gun and Thori swap positions as well. I believe down into turn 1, Sluskard looks through, can't get through, and Sluskard, Top Gun does get through on Thori, as Womack's now joining this battle as well. Meanwhile, Nasev already on the rear volley and gets ahead very quickly. And this bit of traffic could hold Nasev up and potentially cost him if Hemi Dimes does come in now. As KK just ahead of Nasev. And Nasev all over the rear of the Williams, going to pick the outside to try and get ahead of the Williams, and does just that. And Nasev now up into P7. Hemi Dimes doesn't come in. Neither does Rio Harris or Cookie. They're going to extend a little bit longer. Sluskard battling with Mallard here as Thori loses out to Womax as well. Many battles here as Ollie now comes in to pull the undercut in KKE. Now, I'm surprised to see not more drivers in on lap 10 here. The mediums are not an amazingly strong tyre around here. The hards are very strong, and the undercut is powerful, so surprised to see not more people coming in earlier here. I think Ollie's timed it very well here. But anyone going lap 12 or later, their hards will be absolutely flying until the end of this one. But the issue with the likes of Hemi Dimes staying out so long, if he does get undercut by him, by Nasev, does he have the pace even on fresher tyres to catch Nasev, is the question. As Nasev just seems to be in that upper echelon of pace even on older tyres. You would expect Nasev to be able to pull a massive gap here as Rio Harris picks up his first penalty of the day, battling with Michael Louis, and Michael Louis could potentially be looking at the podium positions here. Michael Louis had one podium last season. I think he even finished P2 in Monza, if I'm not mistaken. And Michael now could be on for a great position as Cookie Hemi Dimes into the box, and Michael Louis and Rio Harris going to come in now. And thankfully no one gets a speeding in the pit lane penalty. Gordon will inherit the lead as Nasev sets the fastest lap. But where does Nasev emerge? This is big in the battle. And Nasev now exits ahead of Hemi Dimes. Massive undercut. I did say word, as Rio and Michael Louis also have been undercut. And look at the gap now between Nasev and Hemi Dimes. It's around 5 seconds. It's even more than 5 seconds. And Nasev now going to head after Cookie if he can. But Cookie on the fresher tyres, should expect Cookie to not lose this lead now. As Zampa says, safety car now, Gordon win. I think Gordon wants to go to around lap 15 before boxing on the mediums. So a bit more extending from Gordon needed, along with Liam and Stephen Beecham as well. But a lap 15 safety car would definitely benefit them. And we've seen a couple of VSCs so far this race, but yet to see any actual safety cars. As Rio Harris now on the rear, Stephen Beecham, who still yet to box here. And Rio looking very strong in behind the Ferrari driver, catching him at a rapid rate of knots, and may pick the inside to get ahead of the Ferrari driver, and does just that. And a strong pass there, as Gordon just going to pull out of the way, and the Seb doesn't even want to battle the Cyber Driver. I'm surprised Gordon's done that. Not that he let him through, but the way he let him through seemed to lose a lot of time. Lost probably 2 seconds or so doing that. So not quite sure what Gordon's doing there, but either way. As Ollie and Franz Hermann battle, Ollie gets through now up into P11. And Ollie, despite starting last, need I remind you, the Season 3 WHF champion, showing the pace that he always has had. And Ollie could be on for a very strong result here. Still a couple of drivers ahead of him yet to box. The likes of Aaron, Stephen Beecham, Liam, and Gordon. Never mind also Echo, who may need a box again. He had a box very early off the hards. Zampa says, oh, what do you have for tea? As Franz Hermann picks up a 3-second time penalty, leaving the track in behind Ollie. I had as Thori gets a 3-second time penalty, Ollie may out traction on Tier 2 Championship leader, and Ollie gets straight ahead of the Tier 2 Championship leader. I had creamy chicken casserole? I think it's a casserole? I'm not quite sure. Slow cooker job in it, as Michael Louis on the inside of Stephen Beecham. As Cookie sets the fastest lap, Michael Louis now up to P7. He's lost touch to Rio Harris, though. He entered the box just behind Rio Harris, and now the gap's at 3 seconds. What happened there? Surprised he's lost so much time here. As Franz Hermann now on the rear of Arn. And Franz trying to get ahead of the Alpine driver, but doesn't seem to have much battery to try and get ahead of the Alpine. But can he get the exit out of turn 2 as Arn gives him room, and down in turn 4 they go side by side. Franz gets ahead. Lovely move from Franz as Franz is around Arn, just about avoids him. So does KKE, and Franz Hermann spins unfortunately through sector 1 as KKE now on the outside of the Alpine, as Hemi Dimes gets through on Gordon here through the middle sector. But KKE now up into P, as Rio gets ahead of Liam as well. We're missing all of the passes because we'll be watching a battle and something else will be happening. But Gordon still extending here. And if I were Gordon, I would do an extra lap on these hard tyres. He's got a little bit of DRS to help him from Hemi Dimes as well, so I would use that to his advantage. And then following this lap onto the mediums to the end, and could have very strong pace. Could the Aston Martin driver. Won the finale last season, and Gordon has been up in the podium places all season long. As Stephen Beecham and Liam come into the box now for their pit stops. Ollie now on the rear of Echo. As Ollie. Oh, big snap of the rear from Ollie. Almost clipped the wall. A lovely save from the McLaren driver. We were just watching him in behind Echo there. And almost race ending for the McLaren driver. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham won the finale last season in Tier 2. Still carrying that damage, I see, despite entering the pit lane as Liam picks up a 3-second time penalty. As Mallard into the box, and Mallard unfortunately seems to be down the order from the rest of the field. His early damage has not helped him at all in this race. As Liam now on the inside of Arn, I'm going to get straight through on the Alpine driver. As Gordon now into the box as I predicted, and onto the medium tyres. And let's keep an eye on Gordon's pace as Ollie and Echo battle here. Ollie on the much stronger tyres though, so Ollie's going to hope to get ahead as Echo now comes in for his final pit stop. It did seem like Eka was going to have to box again, and now Ollie up to P7. Where does Gordon exit? Along with Ollie. Gordon just behind Ollie and on the fresher medium tyre, so Gordon could be looking as Franz is retired. Franz has retired. I have no idea how he's retired there. It's a safety car, and that has helped Gordon massively. Exactly when Gordon needed it, and Franz Hermann somehow DNF'd there. I have no idea how he's DNF'd there. But as Liam predicted, we would have at least, well, I think it was Scones predicted we'll have one safety car, and he also predicted it would be Franz Hermann. And safety car out here. As Cookie into the box, that's important. Nasev into the box. Gordon, unfortunately, if we look at the battle of the leader, Gordon's 40 seconds off the lead, which is hilarious. Because Gordon's an insanely strong driver, but it just shows you the levels, man. I mean, Nasev and Cookie are just otherworldly. As Cookie actually brushes the wall a bit, exiting the pit lane. But Nasev into the box, Hemi Dimes into the box, Rio Harris into the box, McLaren of Michael Louis into the box, Ollie gonna come in. I think that's a smart choice. Gordon obviously gonna stay out, because Gordon had boxed the previous lap here. And Gordon gonna look to try and jump a couple drivers. He's gonna jump ahead of Michael Louis as he heads up into P5. But a bit of status quo has been resumed here. And anyone staying out here, the only driver currently I think should stay out is maybe Ty. But this has helped a lot of the drivers at the back of the field. And Ty is going to stay out in those hard tyres, which his hards would still be strong to the end. So I don't think Ty should have necessarily came in. Although, to be honest, he did have a big gap to Warren Max, so maybe should have came in for just the fresh mediums to use. But, oh well, although now the gap is looking a lot smaller, so maybe the gap is lying to us, I don't know. But Cookie will be restarting the field ahead of Nasev, Hemi Dimes, Rio, Gordon and Michael Louis. And a lot still to play for here. Anything could happen. We've had a chaotic opening to this race here, and a safety car restart could be equally as chaotic. So, we'll see what impact that has on the races. Nasev randomly dropping back from Cookie. Not quite sure why, but hey-ho. And I wonder, will anyone else box again just to maybe get rid of penalties if anyone has it? Everyone who does have penalties is just on 3 seconds, so not too many penalties here this evening. Sluskarn did have an earlier... Arn with damage, and an unnecessary damage. Not looking where he's going, and Arn into the wall. And he's surely got to get that fixed now, you would think. Nope, he's staying out. Well, not quite sure what the Mexican driver was doing. But now has damage on his Alpine, and that is really going to hurt the Alpine driver until the end of this one. Really silly mistake there from the Tier 2 Championship leader. Although it is his first race in Tier 1 this season. But it has been a very exciting and tetchy race so far. Although we were kind of spoiled of what battles could have been. Hemi Dimes now will be inside DRS range under this restart. So we'll see, can he stick inside DRS range here? But almost everyone caught up with the pack, still waiting for Thori. Arn, if you're listening, if there's no safety car in this lap, please box. Which I don't think it is coming in. Oh, never mind, late call. Well, Arn, you're unfortunately screwed. Cookie will get us restarted here. Ahead of Nasev, Himi, Dimes, Rio Harris, Gordon, Michael, Louis, Liam, Stephen, Ollie, KKE. As Nasev brushing the rear of Cookie very slightly there, but I don't think that was intentional. As Cookie going to try and drop the hammer at the right time here. As we're almost getting a restart. It's a lovely restart from Cookie. He seems to have got it as Rio Harris now on the inside of Hemi Dimes, but Hemi Dimes going to stay ahead of the Mercedes drivers. Down the inside goes Michael Louis on Gordon in behind. Gordon going to keep ahead as Ollie battling with Stephen Beecham. Top Gun with a 3-second time penalty as everyone seems to have survived turn 1 as we charge up to turn 4, and everyone seeming to avoid turn 4 successfully. So we have survived, but very close we are through sector 1. Here's KKE on the Ferrari. Wash onto that outside curb. And Stephen Beecham now drops down to the back as Echo now going to try and get through on KKE. As Arn battling with Top Gun. Top Gun gets round the outside. Echo on the rear of KKE. As Cookie and Nasev almost dropping Hemi Dimes at a DRS range again, but Hemi could still have an opportunity here. DRS will be enabled on the following lap. Does Hemi have the pace to stay with the leaders here as Arn loses out to Womax? That damage really hurting the Alpine driver. As Mallard gets around the outside, so does Sluskard. Thori surely going to follow him through as well. And Arn, I mean, I did say he should box and he didn't. As Echo now in the rear of KKE. KKE tags the rear of Ollie. And Echo almost in the wall there as Cookie sets the fastest lap. KKE now battling with Echo. And major contact between the Williams driver and the McLaren. As Echo going to try and get involved here, but not close enough to making a move here. Meanwhile, Nasev trying to stay with Cookie, but Cookie has loads of pace, it seems, to use here. Nasev trying to stay with him as best he can as Ty losing out to Top Gun here. As Stephen's retired in the pit lane. Oh, why is Stephen gone? That's heartbreaking for the Ferrari driver. As KKE and Top Gun actually gets ahead of Echo. I think Echo also used the sausage curb, which is going to allow Ty Clear now to have a look down the inside, and he doesn't take it, does Ty. As Nasev now out of DRS range from Cookie, and Cookie absolutely, I'm dumping the battery, I'm sure of it, to try and escape Nasev. As Nasev trying to give it everything to get back inside DRS range, but he doesn't have it. But does he have it through the quick left-hander? As he clips the inside wall, definitely picks up a warning, but was it worth the risk? Does he have the flap open? He does! This could be crucial for Nasev's race. Tuck the gamble at turn 22, maybe. Tuck a track limits warning as well to do it, but now he's inside DRS range, and this could be crucial for the race as Nasev now back inside DRS range from Cookie. Meanwhile, Hemi Dimes in P3 has lost DRS range as him and Rio Harris try and piece off down the road. Gordon now still trying to stay with Rio Harris to find P5 or P4 as Echo and Womax battle through turns 1 and 2, and oh, in the wall! Echo and Womax in the wall. Thori going to get through on Womax as Echo and Womax come together there. And there's been so much carnage here in Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, the Battle of Bahrain has resumed in another round here, the following round after Bahrain. Here in round 4, Nasev and Cookie battling for the win here, and they continue on as Ollie now back on the rear of Liam. Ollie looking for P7 potential. Potential driver of the day performance for Ollie as Ollie made a mistake on a turn 22 and had to check up on the rear of Liam as Nasev back into the lead now. And Cookie appeared to go very wide there. Was there some contact maybe involved? As Cookie going to try and get back through Nasev. And these two battling could help Hemi Dimes back into DRS range as Cookie now back into the lead. Nasev going to try and keep a nose in. And Cookie still battling with Nasev. They're side by side wheel barging. Cookie gets through. And can Hemi Dimes use this to his advantage as there's absolute carnage? Pandemonium at turn 1 as Kiki gets through. Ollie, some damage for the McLaren drivers. He's battling with Liam and Liam losing out in Top Gun. Through up into P9 as Liam has to back out. As Hemi Dimes now back inside DRS range along with Rio Harris. And if Nasev and Cookie battle too hard, they could invite the Ferrari into the battle as Echo picks up a 3-second time penalty in his battles. But we're in so many battle territories here as Top Gun on the inside of Ollie. Ollie going to try and sweep around the outside, trying to find the grip of Top Gun on the inside. Finds superior grip, and Ollie will concede to Top Gun. Oh, and Ollie's around! Ollie in the wall! And Ollie out of the race! Absolute heartbreak for the McLaren driver. Just took a boot of the throttle. And Ollie out here on lap 22. As Sci-Fi Maghype says, so they're trying to recreate 2021. And this race has been a bit mental, and it seems to be going mental as the seconds move on. And I'm slowly dying in the background, trying to commentate this race. As Nasev now still piling the pressure on Cookie. Hemi Dimes is there in touching distance. If Hemi or if Nasev and Cookie come together, that could open the door to the Ferrari. If all three of them come together, it could open the door to the Mercedes of Rio Harris. As Nasev all over to the rear of Cookie through sector 1 here. But there's no real overtaking opportunities as they seem to be both recharging the battery. But the DRS games could surely be at play here on the third final lap. Who is going to win this one? As someone's going to ride. It's Liam. Liam around in sector 1 as Top Gun is out. Exiting Schumacher corner as Mallard comes together with Echo. They're dropping like flies here in tier 1. Oh my lord, what is happening? Everyone is absolutely losing composure. Arnold now finishing in the points despite how bad his race was going. Meanwhile, Nasev still heading after Cookie. Hemi Dimes trying to head after Nasev here. And the battle for the win is still well and truly on. But already 5 drivers out here in tier 1 as Cookie trying to break the toe. As Nasev trying to chase after as we start the penultimate lap of the race. Who is going to win this one? Get your predictions in as Mallard and Echo side by side. They go round the final corner. And the Red Bull driver trying to make this one stick in a drag race with the Haas. Is Echo going to pull inside the DRS? But neither of them have DRS. That's a bit strange. As Nasev now back on the rear. Cookie appears to be recharging the battery through sector 1, which is allowing Nasev back onto the rear. But is Cookie playing the game here? As Nasev all over the rear of the Red Bull driver. And this ending could be absolute cinema. As Nasev trying to search way past Cookie, who just has so much grip there. You've seen how the Red Bull just stuck to the road on the outside there. Hemi Dimes dropping back a bit, doesn't want to lose DRS here. Hemi could potentially have a win in the cards if he's just there in touching distance. And Nasev and Cookie come together here as we've got a lap and a sector to go here. Nasev charging as Hemi now still has DRS open, but he's out of the range. As we're about to start the final lap here, Nasev, oh, he breaks very late into the rear of Cookie there. Not quite sure what happened there. It seemed like Nasev maybe missed his braking point entirely. As Nasev now 7/10ths back from Cookie. And he's going to now head back after Cookie through sector 1. Does Nasev have the pace to overtake him here on the final lap? As Hemi desperately trying to catch but doesn't seem to have the legs. As will Cookie be able to pull a gap to the Sauber driver as Nasev trying to hold on here as Echo gets through on Mallard. In behind Mallard, it's Thorian Sluskart. And Sluskart hopping over the curb as Nasev has picked up a warning. And that will hand P2 to Hemi Dames. For sure. Nasev pushing hard to try and get the win here. And now Nasev seems to have lost his P2 position. Hemi now just needs to keep it on the road. And surely we'll have P2 as down and around as Liam in P14. An unfortunate race for Liam, but Cookie, who won the first 2 races of the season, was beat by Nasev in Bahrain. Looks like Cookie now will have his 3rd win of the season with Nasev in behind. Not close enough to hurt him. Also, with the 3-second time penalty, it looks like Nasev won't be able to do anything here, as Cookie now coming up to the line and will be crossing the finish line here in round 4 to win in Saudi Arabia as Hemi Dames jumps to P2. Gordon jumps to P4 ahead of Rio Harris. Michael Loy in P6, followed by KKE in P7. As Ty up to P8, followed by Echo and Mallard. Mallard doesn't have any penalties. Where will Mallard jump to? P8 as he absolutely smashes the Sauber of Nasev across the line. As Sluskard in P12, Womax in P13, followed by Orn in P14, and next will be Liam, who has no front wing to finish this race. But frustrating race for Liam. But Cookie will extend his championship lead yet again here. As Hemi Dames gets another P2 this season, it seems like Hemi Dames may finish P2 in the championship on current progress, but hasn't really challenged Cookie too much this season. Challenged him in Australia in the first stint, but in the second stint fell away. So we're kind of waiting for Hemi to pick up the pace. But Cookie wins again here in Saudi Arabia. Scone says, reckon it'll be another busy weekend for the stewards, and it looks like it will be. Many contact, 5 drivers out. As Cookie wins, followed by Hemi Dames. Next it's Nasev. As Gordon in P4 ahead of Rio Harris. Driver of the day goes to KKE. Should have been Ollie, but Ollie retiring late on after starting from the back. Heartbreak for Ollie. Had such a strong outing. Will finish 3 laps down, unfortunately, out of the points. But KKE getting a deserving driver of the day performance on his debut as well. But what a race there from Cookie, Hemi Dames and Nasev. I feel like I'm actually alive.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
I'm actually alive enough to do driver interviews, so we'll try and do some driver interviews. Because I'm not dying. I mean, I was dying at points in this round. But I feel like I'm still alive enough to do some driver interviews.
I am stupid. I am stupid.
But welcome in Nasev, a very strong race, battling with Cookie throughout, but unfortunately that late penalty would cost you P2, down to P3. But Nasev, how'd that race go for you?
Pretty shit. Just don't use the setup from when the game came out. I would advise against it highly. Bad on tire wear, bad on grip, bad on straight line speed. So yeah, summarizing it all.
Well, nonetheless, it was still a strong performance, and even with a bad setup, you still really pushed Cookie to the very end there. Cookie was sweating all the way to the end. So you can take that into the next race that you do race with us. But we'll move on now to Hemi Dames, who picks up another P2 this season. Hemi, how'd that race go for you?
I wasn't expecting P2, but in the end, I was also expecting P2 at some point. But toward the end, I was just helping Rio try and gap Gordon, because why not? But it's sort of just a dead race for me. It was just sort of in a gap nobody wanted to be in. So,
Well, we have seen
up my race.
you finish P2 multiple times this season, but do you think at any point you can really challenge Cookie?
No, that's probably not going to happen. Unless I like get some astronomical pace on him, or he just makes a lot of mistakes in one race, and maybe.
Well, decent race from you, Hemi, another P2, and we're looking to see more of it as the season progresses. We'll head on to Rio Harris, who finished in P5. Rio, how'd your race go?
Well, I mean, it was refreshing to be with the front, but not refreshing to be behind Gordon again. He probably got the most undeserved P4 of his life. I don't get the game. I did WR a couple of weeks ago. It's exactly the same setup. Everything felt fine. Then today it's just sliding like I'm on an ice rink. It's just disheartening to be still not on the podium.
Well, an unfortunate ending to the race, but still another top 5 finish from yourself, Rio. And
George Russell.
hopefully that podium will soon come. As we will next move on to your teammate TJ. TJ, such a strong return. We were like, oh my god, TJ is fully back. He's now on wheel and he's found pace. But, heartbreak. How'd that race go for you, TJ?
Yeah, it's really annoying. Yeah, it was good. And then I hit the wall and it blew up my car. And what else is annoying? If I didn't get a penalty and I stayed around there, it would have been like a P3 with Nasev and Rio's penalty. So that's even more annoying. But yeah, if I didn't DNF, yeah. Yeah. It's annoying, but I'm happy because my pace is back and I can finally actually race properly.
Yeah, it was still such a strong out, and we're looking forward to see what you can do as we head on to the next round of the season. I'm trying to remember what we race next. Spain.
I'm gonna cry.
So maybe you can bounce back in Spain as we'll move on to Echo.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll move on to Echo. Echo, your first race back in WHF, how'd that go for you?
No words for that.
Well, great interview there,
no
Echo.
No words for what just happened of what I've just experienced.
Literally Raikkonen. So keep me fun.
Well, what I will say about your race is we did see you have a very good qualifying, but you were in the middle of a lot of carnage there. And as Scone said in the chat, there's going to be a lot of stewards busy over the weekend after a lot of contact. I'm sure, Echo, you were brought up, and I think we've seen with damage early on in the race. But other than that, how'd your race go?
Well, with quali, I was expecting like a P4 or hopefully P3 quali, but I did invalidate in my first stint, which kind of fucked up my qualifying. So started P7 and then got into the race, had a really bad start, got that wing damage, which made me lose a few positions. And then I just wished to the gods for a safety car. As soon as I pitted in for the mediums on lap 12, I think, as soon as I was entering out the pits, safety car comes out, I had hope that I could gain a few positions to get back up at the top, but I just not start getting caught up in carnage. So it's just not how I expected it to go.
Nasev has opened a ticket for me having a bad interview. What question you want me to ask from Nasev?
No comment. No comment.
How does it feel to lose the cookie again? Is that what you wanted me to ask?
Yes. Fucking, it's shit.
Well, anyway, sorry for interrupting you there, Echo. It is great to have you back, and unfortunately, that is such absolute
Carnage.
Annoyance, because even with the timing of the safety car, it was not ideal, but still, you got some points on return.
The safety car was good timing, it's just that obviously after the safety car restart, I was non-stop getting caught into carnage, and I did get a little bit of slight wing damage again.
Yeah.
But it's one of them. First race back, there's plenty more races to go. So,
Well, I will say Spain is one of the tracks where it's pretty difficult to get damage unless you're racing a certain Red Bull driver. So as long as you don't have him torpedoing into you at turn 5, then I think everyone should be able to keep their front wings in
I'll
Spain.
make sure to watch my review mirror.
So hopefully everyone can survive next time out in Spain.
Don't count on Spain. Don't count on Spain. It's gonna happen.
To be honest, the number one driver I want to see avoid damage, I think, is Stephen Beecham. Every single race this season, I'm pretty sure he's picked up lap 1 damage. So hopefully we see Stephen back in the running, because he's been stiffed over a lot more than the majority of drivers. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, this has been WHF Fire. We'll find someone to rate on our way out. This has been Tier 1.
Fabio streaming.
I rated Fabio yesterday, so maybe I'll raid someone else.
Do it again.
We're gonna raid
Saf though.
We're gonna raid Cloud, cause banter. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow, and also make sure to give Cloud a follow on your way out. We'll be back after Christmas for round 5 in Spain. But thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
It is Cloud.